Testing, testing. Testing, testing. All right, one more try. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's kind of decent. We'll try there, see how that goes. But one more test. To see if I can be heard speaking over actual music. Yeah. Testing. All right, last one. Testing, testing. Something still doesn't feel right. Testing. Testing, testing. That might just have to do it. Testing. Alright, let's try something drastic. Testing, testing. Ah, come on. We can do better. What about here? Testing, testing. A little bit more. Testing, testing. One moment. Okay, that might have done it. Okay, that might have done it. Yeah, I think that did it. Okay, cool. Okay, that might have done it. Yeah, I think that did it. Okay, cool. Let's see. Sorry for the noise, by the way, just bear with me. Testing, testing. Yeah, that'll just have to do. Alright, this next sentence is just a test to make sure the feedback that I'm getting from my tablet isn't interfering with anything. So I'm going to unplug the mic real quick, see how it sounds, and we'll go from there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, I think that did it. Testing, testing. Okay, I think that did it. Testing, testing. Ah, thank you, merciful God, finally. Only took 6 minutes. Okay, so, where to begin? Hey everyone, welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker. No, I'm not dead, clearly. So yeah, something strange happened with the mic. One, this mic is dying. That's already step one. Step two is I didn't touch it, so I'm not sure what happened. Maybe because the mic itself is dying, it just got weaker. But I had to go into the audio settings and actually turn my mic and voice up. I'd never had to do that before, so that's why it took me so long to figure out what was going on. So yeah, hopefully my voice isn't drowned out too terribly. So yeah, back in Final Fantasy XIV, the last time I touched Endwalker, like legitimately story-wise, was 9 months ago. 9 months. A human offspring can be conceived and born in that amount of time. Can you believe it? 9 months. So I was not exactly kind to Endwalker, and that was done by choice, but we'll get into that when we get into that. I always say let's get awkward out of the way first. So probably notice Zio looks a little bit different. To spare you the lore heavy headcanon that I have going on for this, I'll just summarize it and say I use super polymerization to fuse my two Zios together. We got Aura Zio as the base and Lalafell Zio as the core. Bada bing, bada boom, this is what you get. I like how asymmetrical the design is. Y'all know I'm a big fan of that, so I think she turned out pretty great, honestly. Now then, to the story that I have not touched in 9 months. So, some lighter topics of discussion I want to get into are, like I said, Endwalker. Endwalker really did me in a bad way. Let me go ahead and back that up too. First off, I apologize for letting my emotions dictate how I played. Normally I don't do that. I'm not a very emotional person. I try not to be, for obvious reasons. But the story with Endwalker, not necessarily the story, really, not really the story, but just Meteons and Hermes, or whatever the heck his name was. The whole, I can't deal with life, so instead of just killing myself and being done with it, I'm going to kill everybody else, and then me, maybe. I hate that. I hate that. I can't even put into words how much I hate that. For personal reasons, I despise that logic. So, for me, playing through Endwalker, whenever that point was brought up in the story, it would be like Superman having the most jagged piece of kryptonite shoved up his butt sideways and then telling him to deal with it. That's how I felt playing Endwalker. But we'll talk more about that in a minute since we're here. Oh, one more thing. I was slightly spoiled, and I know that I get a new costume at some point, and I saw what the necklace looks like. I'm really excited for that necklace. You know, I'm always out for a good one. Hopefully this outfit doesn't clash with it, but we'll see. I know, right? New look and everything. Also, I apologize. I might have to check my volume to make sure my mic hasn't died. I heard some clicking.
It's so much quieter these days without everyone around.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, it's the mic. I'm gonna have to be really careful not to touch the port or whatever it is, because my PlayStation 4 mic, the real cheap one that comes with the PlayStation 4, it seems to not work at all. And this is the only thing I got left. And needless to say, I'm not exactly rolling in dough, so I can't really afford another one right now. So bear with me. I'll check every once in a while to make sure my voice isn't more unbearable than usual, but I'll just try to stay quiet for the most part, unless I need to talk, you know.
Not that I'm pining for your return, you understand. I have my sources, and I know that each and every one of you is doing well and keeping busy with your endeavors. Meanwhile, I'm left with a surplus of free time and the question of how to make the most of it. What about you? Any plans for the immediate future? Traveling to the edge of existence and back wasn't enough? Well, if that's the case, I might have a suggestion for you. You fought bravely and selflessly, helping those in need and saving our star from unimaginable threats. For your deeds, you've been hailed as the champion of Eorzea and a host of other incredible things. But why not put those titles aside for a while? Acquit yourself as a simple adventurer again and travel the world in search of wonder.
It's funny Tataru says that, because one of the things I've been thinking about doing is I wanted to show off some of the old side quests. You remember, I think Stormblood is the one that started it. I think it was Stormblood. Matter of fact, yes, it was, because I remember being upset about the samurai thing. Yeah, around Stormblood, they made it so that you cannot rewatch. Ever since Stormblood going forward, they made it so you cannot rewatch certain job cutscenes anymore. Like, they were just gone for good, and there was no new game plus, you know? So once they were gone, they were gone. But now, there is New Game Plus, and I went ahead and played Samurai and Dark Knight again, because I love those two so much. So I'm thinking of showing you all what that looks like. That being said, another thing I planned to do was to do A Realm Reborn from the very beginning, as this Zio, just to see all the cutscenes and all the like, just for fun, really. But that's going to be a grand undertaking, to say the least. So we'll cross that bridge if and when we get to it.
Oh, with so many exciting places to choose from, it's hard to narrow it down. But I believe I have the perfect destination in mind. Thavnair. That's where you should go next. I doubt you were able to squeeze in a proper tour of Rad's at Han the last time you were there. What with the burning skies and rampaging monsters and so forth. And I'm sure Ritra would be pleased to see you. Then there's the bounty itself. The Empire's presence in the region was always a deterrent to exploration. So if you've a mind to sail that sea, now's your chance. Just think of all the new experiences you could have.
Tell them. Have you been to the ruins beneath the waters of the bounty?
Again, I want to comment here. I was thinking, since Tataru kind of brought it up earlier, being the savior of the entire star. First it started off with, Realm Reborn. Actually, before that, technically, it was 14, but I digress. The Realm Reborn is just you versus the Empire. You're just kind of saving Eorzea for the most part. Then Heaven's Word, it goes down a little bit, because it's more for Ishgard's sake. But if we didn't stop Nidhogg, obviously he would have killed everyone, so you might as well say that's also for Eorzea. Stormblood, more or less the same thing. Garlemald, Conquest, Eorzea. Shadowbringers, on the other hand, was very special because we go to an entirely different world and save it, right? Then we come back for Endwalker and save our entire world. So what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word I want to use. It's on the tip of my tongue, but whatever. The stakes, that might have been it. The stakes have been kind of rising, then lowering, then rising again. I'm curious where we're going to go now, because the only way, I'm not saying the stakes need to go constantly higher, as long as the story is good, I really don't care, but the only way the stakes would be higher would be if we had to take on a threat that threatened the remaining shards of the 13. There was 13 total, I forgot how many there are left now, I think 7, but that's the only thing left that could really top what we've done with Endwalker as far as stakes are concerned. As far as I know anyway, I'm pretty sure Medion's song was just meant to wipe out our star and the surrounding universe that's in there. I don't know, man. Like, the reflections and worlds are not side by side. They're not like planets. You can't physically go there. They're different dimensions. So I don't think her song would have gone through dimensions, but I digress.
As the bearer of Azem's crystal, you may consider your duty
That
to
clicking
see at
noise
least
again.
that much.
It's really aggravating me.
Oh, I know that look.
Sneeze.
That's an adventurer ready to take on the world.
Excuse me.
In anticipation of an occasion like this, I was planning to gift you a new set of traveling clothes, but it's still a work in progress.
If it's what I hope it is, take your time. It'll be well worth the wait. I've only waited 9 months.
Shouldn't take much longer now, though, so sit tight and I'll have the last few bits sewn up before you can finish another cup of tea.
Yeah, we'll see about that. Make sure it has pockets. That's an interesting one. I'm pretty sure most of them have pockets, but I digress. I need to stop saying that. That's almost as bad as me saying obviously all the time. Or literally. Oh, look at that smile.
Stitch in here and trim in there. Knot the threads with love and care. Just a little more to go. I'm sure you're still brimming with excitement.
See, this is nice, man. This is just nice, because it takes me back legitimately, not having to try to pull at my heartstrings with artificial drama. It takes me back to when we first meet Tataru, because when you first meet her, she is sitting, or standing on the chair, humming a little song, talking about some tra-la-la-la-la-la-la, literally. She does do that, and I did say literally on purpose that time. So, it's just nice. It's nice.
idle. See how the fabric surrenders to my whims.
I'm sure she's very talented as a seamstress, but I still feel a bit of anxiety that she might prick herself with all the singing and the dancing. You would think out of all her many talents.
I'll make sure the lining has plenty of pockets for all your little treasures. I swear adventurers are worse than children when it comes to hoarding every feather and leaf and animal hide they come across.
That's right, our inventory is never big enough.
Oh, we mustn't forget the waterproofing. Gods forbid you forget to disrobe before plunging into the sea, or a river, or a piping hot bath.
Dang, Zia was out like a light. I'm sure as a Lalafell that's like 10 times funnier, but I don't really feel that urge anymore now that I settled the score with Xenos. No, speak of the devil.
And thus I am returned.
Alright, that was good. That was very good.
Ah, you're awake. My apologies. I do get a little carried away with my sewing. You seem awfully cheerful. Pleasant dream? Or are you just looking forward to the next chapter of your grand saga? Either way, I promise to provide you with new apparel, and so I shall. If you'll accompany me to the Diamond Forge, we can put the finishing touches on your outfit. Shall we?
Oh, I was going to say, I just remembered something. I can't remember if I mentioned it in the last stream, but you can actually find Thancred and Urianger, Gestola, all of them out in the world if you travel to the right places to see what they're up to. I think that's also a very awesome touch. I like that. It's a very small detail, very easy to miss, especially if you don't bother to look or just straight up don't know. But the fact that they put in that extra effort, that says a lot. Like I've said before, it's the small things that matter to me, because the small things make up the big things. My original biggest worry when it came to streaming, and why it took me so long, is because I was afraid the stream would just randomly crash, because my internet has not been as good as it used to be. It kind of is, kind of isn't. When it works fine, but then there are some days it just does not work at all, for no reason. Seemingly it just doesn't work, so I have no Wi-Fi for the whole day. That's now a secondary worry, because my first worry is what's going on with this mic. That's really concerning me. I guess I'll endure the cringe and watch this stream later just to see how bad it is and try to fix it if I can, but we'll see. Ooh, that's not bad. It's very... honestly, that kind of looks like it'd be better for the Shadowbringer storyline. Something about it just screams Crystarium, doesn't it? I guess it screams ready for a bold new adventure too. But it has a very Crystarium look to it. I like the gauntlets. And I think I see the necklace under that. Ah, there it is. I'm glad you brought that up, because I was saying earlier before I was interrupted and then lost my train of thought, out of all her myriad of talents, you would think the one she would capitalize on the most would be her weaving talents. So there you go. I don't understand how the mic could be so sensitive and so clunky at the same time, I swear. Hey, yeah, there it is. Couldn't really see anyone wearing the earrings, but yeah, that necklace. Ah, so pretty. If I have room for it all. My inventory is kind of full. I was debating on what job to do these new quests as, and I was stuck between Gunbreaker, Reaper, Samurai, Ninja, and I had to level up Samurai and Ninja from 80 to 90, so that's also why it kind of took me a while. Oh my, so much to read. I'm definitely going to read this later, because you know I love my lore, but for the sake of the stream, I'm just going to do this, so any brave soul who wants to stomach this being my stream, can just pause it and read it as they go. Go back to do that one. That first tick was kind of fast. There we go. So, read at your pleasure. Oh, okay, that's good. You might think that's bad because you can barely see it, but I'm actually glad that's that way, because I was concerned it might like poke through her vest, and it doesn't. It's just barely visible. I can totally live with that. Good, very good. I'll also have to show now. Ordinarily I would hop right to that, but I'm gonna make a quick detour. Plus it'll give me time to talk a little bit. Also, I'm about to move, so if the mic does something stupid, that's why. So yeah, see, there it was. Man, this thing's so weird. I basically have to be a statue while playing, and you can imagine how uncomfortable that is. But you get what you pay for, I guess. Even though this thing actually isn't cheap and was actually quite good back when I first got it. But anyway, I was debating on doing Samurai, because Samurai has been super fun. I kind of forgot how fun it was, actually. ever since Gunbreaker and Reaper came into my life. It's hard to say which one I put over the other, because Reaper just has the natural cool factor of, you know, Scythe, Spectre, Transformation, more badass. It just got that. While the Samurai, on the other hand, I actually created a special macro just for it. That's basically a miniature limit break. Not very practical, but I do get to do it like twice every boss fight, depending on how thick the boss's HP is, which brings up another topic I gotta remember to discuss, but I'm pretty sure I'll remember and do it anyway. We're just gonna put the whole thing in there. Obviously, I just want the necklace, but we'll put in the whole thing. Yeah, see, that's an example of one of the scythes. That thing looks freaking gigantic. It's literally bigger than she is. I'm glad they increased the glamour space. It was a real hassle having to go through it originally. Did we just not get the pants for that outfit? Or did I already put them in there? I don't remember. But I don't see them. So, okay. The most important part isn't... Wait a minute. I just had an idea. Alright, that didn't do it. And these are not full. This shouldn't be here. So, okay. Fine. Yeah, that's going to look so good on future glamours. Alright. So as I was saying, Samurai, at first I didn't want to play it because I heard how it was changed and I wasn't happy about it. But when I gave it a chance, the changes they made weren't even that significant for me, personally. So I didn't mind them at all. So it was fine. Dark Knight, on the other hand, we'll get to that in a second. Ninja they also changed, and I like that it can do more damage now, but I do hate that they took away Shadow Fang. I really like that move. It was, not only did it look cool, it was really fun to do if you just so happen to have it ready to use and you're about to get hit by an AoE, so you just Shadow Fang out of the AoE. It looks like you actually dodged it. It looks really cool. So I hate that we lost that, because the number one thing I like about Ninja is how agile they are. I've always preferred speed and agility over brute strength. I just think it looks more elegant, graceful, more finesse than just headbutting a wall down, you know? Oh, plus the increase in movement speed is definitely good. That has actually saved me a couple of times from being hit by AoEs that would have gotten me otherwise. look at that. Fellow new adventurer. Even rocking the new outfit. For the... I think the boots might be different for the males. Looks like it is. Again, this is for the future, for those who want to watch it, read it, pause it. There you go. Oh, I almost forgot. The two things I love about this new outfit of Zeo's, or not love, I said that wrong. I meant I love it in general, but there are two flaws. One is definitely more obvious than the other, but they both can be revealed through a cutscene. Hopefully the worst of the two will not come to pass, but I won't hold my breath. Dang, that's making me thirsty now. But I don't want to move, otherwise my mic will crap itself. Yeah, see, I barely moved in. I didn't even move at all. That was just my mouth. Whatever. He knows when he's being buttered up, but he also knows when to take a mile from an inch. Yeah, kind of obvious. I was thinking eventually he's going to be so drunk he won't be able to tell me anything. He only had two, and he's already about to fall out. Surprisingly, he's not slurring yet. Realistically, this one might just make him stop talking. And I don't think we have a clear picture of everything going on, so... Oh, this should be good. Yeah, that you're mooching off of. Yeah. There's the slurs. Yeah, I thought so. We needed to keep them yammering just a bit longer. He seems to know his stuff well enough. Oh yeah. Hmm. See, that was actually properly sad. That's something with Endwalker I didn't like, as those who, watched it know, is a lot of it just felt so forced for me, personally. Well, I'll save it for after this. This cutscene seems important.
Please, Ashal, please! You must let me have that treasure map!
What's all this about?
My mother and father were slaughtered by monsters. My baby sister, still too young to fend for herself. Can you spare us no kindness?
Okay, I gave them credit, now they're starting to do it again. So, the kid wants the treasure map to find the treasure. A mere child. Where it's been mentioned many times over that grown men, I was going to say something else, traveled there and died. But a child, and you could make the argument, well, maybe he wants to sell it. Maybe. I doubt it, but maybe. They don't have any kind of, I don't know, child care, some kind of charity. So they don't, I'm pretty sure if, Big Daddy Dragon knew about this, he would do something. Just saying. I just find it, again, a bit forced, a bit weird.
You hope to find your fortune? And what? You expect me to surrender my wares for pity's sake? What have you to offer in payment? As I thought. Come back when you've more than rags to your name. This is no mere treasure map. It is a guide to the vaults of Arzadal III, one of the great Sartraps of Radzat and a direct descendant of Alzadal Khan.
You would think he would have it a bit more secure than just lying in a box.
A map to Alzadal's legacy?
So he says.
A fake, I'd wager.
Yeah, exactly.
This is no fake. The parchment is marked with an arcane glyph of passage. You may find the ruins hidden in the bounty, but you won't be setting foot inside without this in your possession. A priceless artifact is discovered amongst the rubble in the aftermath of the final days, and lovingly restored by yours truly. This map is the key to fabulous riches, and I'll be the king of fools to simply give it away. Be glad I am no such king, boy. Your scrawny-eyed and never return with that treasure alive.
Oh, cruel fate! Why must you tempt me with wealth I am powerless to claim?
I hear the hippo riders are hiring, kiddo, just so you know.
How I shall envy the one who purchases that precious map. Whatever they pay will be but pittance against the golden hoards they stand to uncover.
That's kind of suspicious too. Hey.
What have you, sir? Fighting man of your stature would surely relish the challenge of recovering Alzadal's lost fortune.
A fortune, you say?
If I had but the strength to seize that treasure, my starving sister would never want for food.
I'll take it. Will this cover the price? Well met, my friend.
Indeed, someone got better at spending their coin. How about that?
Someone is dressed for adventure.
Oh, you noticed.
Why Favner of all places? Knowing you, I suspect there's more to your plans than sightseeing and shopping.
I took care of all that in the 9 months.
Ruins beneath the bounty. Curious. And here I've acquired a map to just such a site.
With that sale, I do believe I've earned the rest of the day off. Thank you for your patronage, sir, but if you'll excuse me.
You needn't mind us.
And now I've fleeced one of the heroes of the final days. Pray the sisters were looking elsewhere.
This map may or may not be genuine. Either way, we'll need a ship to find out for sure. Lest you misunderstand, I seek the treasure not for myself. If such a fortune truly exists, then it could help ease the struggles of those who lost their loved ones in the final days.
Yeah, money will do that, or so I'm told.
I hope to do for Thavnir what you and Alphino did for the Alamegans when you recovered the Mad King's trove.
Oh yeah, that old story.
Come now. You know Alphino needs little encouragement when it comes to recounting the tales of your shared exploits. Speaking of precocious lads, That boy in the bazaar was clearly an accomplice of the merchant.
Oh, you
Suppose his
noticed
role
too.
was to draw the attention of the crowd and add weight to the merchant's bold claims.
Okay, see? I knew it was too suspicious to make any real sense.
Transparent act for the most part. It was not all mummery. The need to provide for his sister rang true enough.
Yeah, I still say we could fix that without, you know, treasure maps and the like.
Thus, if some portion of the profits end up in that waif's pockets, then I will consider it money well spent. Whether the map leads us to the vault or not.
I suppose.
You are coming along, yes?
Oh, that's a perfect view of the necklace too. I knew I picked good. I like that it's green as well. Or jade, rather.
I thought as much. Now, let's see about securing a vessel.
I will say, for a mercy, I have not been spoiled as far as the story is concerned, so I am quite pleased about that. I have no idea what's going to happen. I only know a few things, like I know that that's a very cool looking samurai sword. I know that, I forgot to say, that glamour kind of distracted me. It looks pretty cool. Whatever, I don't remember. Alright, I guess I can talk more about Endwalker because I feel I haven't said everything I wanted to about that. But yeah, personal feelings aside, the story was actually fine, you know. Again, I didn't care for the I can't stand life, so I will kill everyone because I personally cannot stand life. I hate that. I didn't care for every other song being a remake, or that one song that played for like an hour that just drills a hole into your head during the final preparations to launch onto the ship. And then of course some of my complaints were literally just me whining because I was agitated the entire time, like how the logo is very clearly the ship going to the moon. That only bothered me because every other Final Fantasy logo I can think of is usually a reference to something you initially don't know what it is. Like even something as basic as the Final Fantasy VII logo, you don't really know what you're looking at. Your best guess might be a comet or a meteor, but in and of itself that doesn't mean anything, right, until you actually play the game. Then you got some that are a bit more abstract. Like I remember one of the first ones I saw, can visually remember, was Final Fantasy XII with Gabranth on the cover. I did not know that was him for the longest time. Or take Final Fantasy XV, same thing, especially after you beat Final Fantasy XV, even more so. But this one was just ship to the moon. Gee, I wonder what that could be, you know? So it was a minor complaint, but it was mostly just because I was agitated from the story. Yeah, he got dressed fast. But yeah, aside from those few things, the story was fine. When it didn't involve that dumb logic, the story was perfectly fine. Great in some places. Like when Xenos did the old switcheroo. To this day, I still praise that part of the story. Or our final battle with Xenos, again, excellent. The music would have been better if we hadn't just heard a remix of it in the previous fight, but I digress. Yeah, I was literally about to say something, but I was going to wait. I was going to say, I wonder if Estinian has noticed yet. And I'm really good at that, I've noticed. Usually right before I say something or right after I say it, the thing happens. It's literally already happened at least once during the stream. Maybe twice, but definitely once. Yeah, Zeo is an Estinian. I was about to say another reason Estinian could have a soft spot, because I kind of forget this about his backstory. It's not something he, you know, preaches about for the sake of sympathy, unlike certain people nowadays. He's also an orphan, so I imagine naturally he has that soft spot for them. No, he at least has a heart, so I can't be too hard on the little rascal. I'm not going to tease him. This is a good point, though, because I imagine it's going to be a dungeon, so I would like to bring my NPC friends. Well, that's nothing a link pearl can't fix. Oh man, these are tough. I like how this one's just Y'shtola. I almost want to pick that one. But Kryle's a white mage, so she technically could come, but I don't think she's part of the trust system. I guess Y'shtola's just by herself because everyone else is partnered up. Yeah, sure, why not? Y'shtola's really smart. Okay. I wonder if any of these are the right answer. I guess we'll just go down the list. No, I'm gonna pick the one I would ordinarily pick if Y'shtola wasn't there. I would pick Graha, Alphino, and Alice, then Thancred and Urianger. It'd be in that order, so from like most to least. Yeah, see, that was even the right answer. Now I kind of wish I did the other ones just to see what would happen. Oh, he could be anything, so yeah. I still can't believe they don't have a shelter. Yes, the Batman of the Scions, minus the money. Yeah, he's a big old teddy bear on the inside. I'm about to move again. Hopefully the mic doesn't have some kind of seismic reaction. I could still hear it clicking. Wow. As low as the volume is, I can still hear that clicking. This should be interesting, because we did promise Graha that, you know, on our next adventure we'd take him with us, so curious to see how Best Boy reacts to that. And I was thinking of being the tank for this, but I think I'll stick with Ninja just because I'm kind of taking a break from tanking for right now. Of course, it's one of those situations, I'm sure my fellow tanks out there can relate, where when you're tanking and there's like multiple tanks around, even if you establish aggro first for no reason, they'll just take it from you because they can, especially if they choose to use provoke, right? Or, God forbid, you're doing something like World of Darkness and all the tanks there are new, but you are not tanking, so you just have to give instructions and hope for the best. That's usually what I fall into. It's either I tank and someone is acting up. Matter of fact, I got a story for that, by the way, where... Oh yeah, I forgot, I didn't do all these. Anyway, I've been saving them for when I want to level up something else. Yeah, either you go as the tank and there's multiple tanks and the multiple tanks do something foolish, or you don't go as the tank and everybody gets crapped on because you aren't there to save them because you know what to do, but you're not the tank. So, oh well. The story I wanted to tell you was there was this new tank. I remember it to this day. I would say I have the recording, but I only saved some of it, not the entire thing. But we had a big kitty, I forgot what the name of the race is, as the tank. He was new. He said as much. I could clearly see it from the cutscene and all that stuff. New player loaded in, bonus stuff, you know. So I knew he was new. He said he was new. He was very clear he was new. But we had a Lalafell healer who kept running ahead. Kept doing it. I didn't say anything. But I predicted we're going to end up wiping because of this. Sure enough, they ran into, I believe it was the first boss. And we ended up wiping because... How did it go? We wiped because they ran in too early. Actually, no, my bad. Maybe it wasn't the boss they wiped. No, I don't think it was the boss. It was the mob leading up to the boss, because you don't need to be new to really survive that fight. He had more than enough health as the tank to survive, despite him having like 5 vulnerability ups. So it wasn't the boss. My mistake. It was the mob leading up to the boss. I believe the ones where the golems are. They ran ahead, triggered that. Then we came, and then we got murdered by that. I could be telling the story wrong. Maybe I should just go and rewatch the clip, because I do still have it. But I said all that to say, if it was me, I would have let it happen on purpose. I would have let her get nommed on, and then maybe would have saved her. That's something I kind of hate to see. The only reason people do that is because they know... Oh, I came in too early. Is because they know they can get away with it. That's kind of funny. I love that he says that, because I believe he says that regardless. It just so happens to be perfectly aligned for what's about to happen right now. But yeah, despite the healer doing that, she did apologize and she seemed genuinely sorry about it. So I didn't tear her a new butthole over it. It was like, you know, fine, okay. We've had little funny moments afterwards. So ended on good terms. But be that as it may, never run ahead of the tank. I say that, but even I do it. But I do it because as a tank main, I know where the ads are, so I know where to stop. Even if the other people run ahead, sometimes I stay behind to run alongside the tank just to be safe. Oh, you don't say. Oh, okay, so it forces me into a cutscene. I'm fine with that. I thought it would have been like, go talk to him, go inside, talk to Graha, then we leave. I'm fine with this, though. It saves me a trip. Kind of, since I already went in there.
Ah, Ojika, my good man.
Oh, you think, huh?
Would you be so kind as to...
Oh, isn't this a pleasant surprise?
Yeah, it's like we didn't even see each other 20 seconds ago.
I wish you had sent word ahead. I thought I was having visions for a moment there.
You probably were, my dude. I mean, you weren't. I was just here. Now it's getting to me.
Raha and I have been compiling old records of the students' activities. We located several accounts in the archives of Numenon and added them to the collection we recovered from the Isle of Fowl.
Oh.
And judging by the progress we've made thus far, sorting this pile will keep us occupied for days to come. But what brings you to the Annex, my friend? Surely you haven't come all this way just to watch us shuffle dusty papers around?
Real quick, I want to comment on this while the moment is here and before I forget. The reason I like the necklace we have on right now is, one, it looks good. Two, the crystal looks like it's from a piece of aetherite, I believe it's called. I could be wrong about that. The crystals you use to warp around, those. So that's neat. But most of all, it reminds me of Raha's necklace. I even commented on how much I liked his back when we saw his new outfit. So, goes around, comes around. It goes full circle.
The treasure vault of Alzadal III.
And you're looking for companions to join you on this expedition.
Real quick, sorry to interrupt yet again, but I am getting a little thirsty, and I don't want to risk unplugging my mic, and then God knows what happens next. So I'm going to take a swig of this water, try to be quiet about it. Ice cold. I don't like when people eat or drink loudly.
I would dearly love to accompany you, of course, but I'm afraid I'm committed to another task. On the subject of which, I had hoped to ask for your assistance.
So naturally, I'm not going to be a hypocrite and go, oh, this water's so good. I hate when people do that. It actually kind of pisses me off because there's no reason for it. It's not funny. It's just annoying. So why do you do it? Why would you purposely try to annoy your audience? I don't get it. Uh-oh.
Then again, it's not so urgent that it can't wait until you've returned. You should go, Raha. I'll stay here and mind the shop, as it were.
Are you sure? I'd hate to leave you short-handed.
I'm sure. Just try to be back before too many moons have passed.
I can't wait to see other players' reaction to this.
Well, I guess we're off on another adventure already. Have you asked anyone else to come along? Then might I suggest we invite your Stola?
Interesting pick. Raha. It's almost like I just got done talking about how I do something and then it happens later.
Ever since the Scions disbanded, she spent most of her time cloistered within the Great Google Library, hoping to piece together a method to traverse the rift. It would seem, however, that whatever wisdom she sought there was not to be found. She arrived in Charlian the other day. We spoke briefly before she began her search of Numenor. Considering what you've told us of Alzadal's extraordinary feats, I do believe your Stola would be more than interested to hear what you have to say. Splendid! Then let us head to the archives at once.
Wait, before you go. I have another potential member to volunteer, if you've room to spare. Urianger. He sent the students a request for materials, you see. Treatises on the architecture of treasure vaults and the like. From what I can gather, the Lockerites are looking to make improvements to their own creation, and wish to learn more about how we build things down here. So, why not take Urianger with you? Let him study Alzadal's legacy firsthand.
Not a bad idea.
None can deny the benefit of seeing something with your own eyes. If our expedition leader has no objections, I say we extend Urianger an invitation once we've spoken with your Stola.
Safe travels, you two. But don't forget, I'd still like your help with that other matter I mentioned.
Right. Then it's off to the library.
That's cool that Urianger gets to come too, because like I said in the order, I mean, it's kind of hard not to want to include the twins and everything. You know, they have like some of the best reactions to everything. But I'm glad Urianger gets to come and hang out. He's kind of a bookworm, as Moonbreeder knew all too well. So it's nice he gets to come out and see the sun. Aside from the surface of the moon, I mean. Oops. That's close enough. But yeah, more Endwalker chatter. Again, I do apologize for letting my emotions get the better of me there. I could have easily concealed them if I so desired, but I chose not to because I didn't feel it was even worth the energy of doing that. So I didn't. You know, aside from the funny name Pudding Way and the slight annoyance they gave me that one time, I can't help but wonder what makes them so special that they're interested in pudding to the point that they seem to like pudding more than carrots. That makes them a very, very strange Loporrit. And how they even know what pudding is in the first place. If they knew, they could have chose that name from random for all I know. Man, look at all those books. And aw, he's out like a light. I'm kind of surprised your Stola is okay sleeping out here like that. I would say would sooner die.
I've never known your Stola to doze off in the middle of research before.
I've never known her to doze off around so many people before. Good. Zio remembers she's wearing a skirt.
Close my eyes for one moment.
Yeah, I've done that before in one of my studies. Oh, so much for remembering.
Ow!
I know
How long have you two been here?
Zio kind of has that delinquent tomboy look, but I mean, come on. Yeah, sure, why not?
Something to that effect. I must have been studying for 2-3 days straight before exhaustion finally claimed me.
Yeah, I believe it. Also, just to point this out yet again, I say something, then it or the opposite happens a little bit later. Zio herself just did it.
As you know, I've been researching ways to travel from the source to one of its reflections. Well, looking for hints at least. I don't expect to find a simple set of instructions tucked away in some dark corner of the library. So I've been skimming through the stacks, hoping to uncover even a partial mention of any similar feats in the past. A means to travel between worlds exists, and you can be sure I will find a way to employ it.
Oh yeah, that was her little pet project.
So I've promised Runa. But 'twould seem I've set myself a nigh impossible task.
Ah, you ain't got to do all that for that simp. Don't worry about him.
You needn't be so hard on yourself.
That too.
The leap I made with the Crystal Tower was not achieved in an afternoon. It was the culmination of a collective effort spanning generations.
Oh, you think me discouraged? I assure you, 'tis quite the opposite. A daunting challenge and the time to sink my teeth into it. I feel like a fresh-faced student again.
Well, that's wonderful.
A scholar in her element.
Like a fish in water.
Indeed. Was there something else you wished to ask of me? Alzadal is no minor figure in Harnish history, and much is known about his family. But this is the first I've heard of a descendant surviving a trip to another world. If those tales are true, then he may have left behind some clue as to how it was accomplished. An invitation to delve into one of the world's lingering mysteries. As if I could refuse. And whence do we embark upon this expedition?
Right after we get Urianger.
But before that, we thought to extend an invitation to Urianger as well. He was in Falmazane last we heard.
Then by all means, let us recruit him and be on our way.
Wonder if Estinian will be surprised that we got Y'shtola on board. Or it's not so much as little tiny robot. It's like all these books. You also can tell how, and I'm not doing it on purpose either, I just thought I'd point it out, how my tone is different. I seem more mellowed out as opposed to, again, constantly agitated. I'm telling you, Endwalker really just left me twisting in the wind. There's no other way I can really put it. Well, there is, but I try not to swear unless I get pissed off enough, so. Oh yes, as I was saying earlier. I'm like all over the place with my little bullet points. I guess that doesn't make them bullet points then, does it? Anyway, I don't know anything about the story. I know there's going to be a new, well, there is a new, crap, what's it called? There's new raids, as far as I understand. There's new raids. I don't know what they are or where they begin, but I know they're there. Unless, of course, they're talking about the, I still can't remember what it's called. The Underworld, Pandemonium. I know there's new Pandemonium raids. I consider them more trials than raids, though, so I don't know if that's what my little group was talking about. But I do know for a fact there's new Pandemonium stuff, and it looks much harder than the ones before it. Oh yeah, I still need to talk about Dark Knight and how they massacred my boy, don't I? Tell me about it. Good question. Let's find out. Now I'm getting a little hungry, but I'll try to fight it until the stream is over. I don't know how long I'm going to go, by the way.
Our illustrious champion. Cloaked in the mantle of the common explorer, fame set aside in thy pursuit of simple adventure.
That's how the journey all began, my man.
I am told a new expedition is in the offing.
I'm sure we're going to get to this, but it seems kind of rude to, you know, not do this one, so.
And thee, as ever, thou art the picture of strength.
You know, fusion will do that.
You've been keeping yourself busy, I trust?
True to our plan, Thancred and I embarked upon a pilgrimage of sorts, with an eye for gauging the state of those lands through which we passed. Our travels were interrupted, however, by a request for aid from our befurred lunar allies. As you may recall, the Loporrits have been seeking new purpose for the moon, another role through which it might serve to benefit mankind. The Forum hath been working to advise them in this endeavor, but I return to offer mine own counsel.
And this has what to do with treasure vaults, exactly?
You have learned of my predicament from Mistress Cryle. I know not whence they acquired such knowledge, but the Loporrits now stand convinced that adventurers delight in treasure hunts. Thus, with their newly built wonderland of riches and mystery, do they hope to entice all manner of daring delvers to the moon. So earnest and innocent was their desire to bring joy to the world that I found myself powerless to refuse them my cooperation.
Yeah, the lovable pushover as always. Never change.
But what of you, my friends? Why are you come to Labyrinthos?
That still didn't quite tell us where Thancred went, did it? Or maybe it did. I just flew over my head. I was still caught up in the Loporrit situation.
Fascinating. This is indeed a most fortuitous opportunity. I should be honored to accept thine invitation.
Okay, cool. The party is set. Also, well, I'll save it.
How long has it been, I wonder, when last our actions were not impelled by fate or desperation?
I don't think there was one. No, that's not true.
Aye. Though I cherish the Scion's accomplishments. 'Tis pleasant to not have the weight of the world upon our shoulders for a change.
I was thinking, you know, pretty much since the beginning there's been some kind of crisis, but I think he meant more in a literal sense. And I think that would be, I guess, technically after they saved the world, but there was also that time they were having lunch together before they went to save the world.
Counting Istinian, we number 5 now, yes? Without knowing what traps or perils await unwary feet, we may be wise to refrain from recruiting others.
I agree. Between us, we should have the skills to handle whatever situation may arise. Shall we be on our way?
What, no time to spare a word for the grizzled old bard?
There he is.
All is well, I trust? A wasted trip, I'm afraid. I'd hoped to catch up with a former mentor while you parleyed with the rabbits, but it seems our paths were not to cross. Having an astrologian beside you on the road is surprisingly convenient. And it doesn't hurt that he's making strides with his light-hearted banter.
Fair.
In any case, as we made our way around Ilsabard, we saw that much of the continent was in various stages of chaos. A certain amount of disorder is to be expected. The final days are over, and the people no longer have a common threat binding them together. That's the thing with these fledgling troubles, eh? You need to keep an eye out, lest they mature into full-grown headaches.
That's some very wise advice. I wish I was able to remember that.
So, for what reason have so many esteemed personages seemed fit to gather?
Welp.
Beneath the waters of the Bounty, you say? I see you've already stolen away my traveling partner with the promise of unexplored ruins and scholarly glory.
Nay, 'tis not for mine own indulgence, but rather the fulfillment of my commitment to the Lockerites.
And at this rate, we might as well go ahead and grab the twins.
Ah, of course. And if you have a Stinian rounding out your group, you'll likely have all the members you need.
Feeling left out? I could put in a good word for you, if you like.
We may have been released from our obligations, but I'll never be free of that merciless wit of yours, will I? In all seriousness, it is best I sit this one out. Too many former scions consorting with one another might be seen as a cause for concern in certain quarters.
Fair enough.
I'll return to my usual reconnaissance and scout out the situation in the Far East. Feel free to share if you come across any interesting revelations. Till we meet again.
Shall we also hasten our departure? Sir Estinian will wonder what hath become of us.
So I was saying earlier that I like how all of them have some form of black on them. Their clothing is black in some way. I like that. It's almost like wearing a uniform, but not really. Just a signature color that kind of ties us all together. I was going to say Thancred is the odd one out, but when I took a good look at him, that's not actually true, because the undersuit, for lack of better terms, that he has on is in fact black. So even he does. Estinian technically doesn't. His is blue, and the twins obviously don't because theirs is blue and red. But still, the fact that we got these four, and it works out that way, I think is neat. Also think it's neat that Zio and Raha both happen to be red and black. So that's kind of cool too. Especially considering, well, you know. Or at least you would if you watched my stream. What does that say about you then? On a somewhat unrelated note, I really do hope, well, I say hope like I expect it to happen. I honestly don't. It would be nice, but I won't lose any sleep over it. That being said, I do hope that those who watch my stream of Endwalker, despite my griping and whining, I hope they do stick around for at least some of my witty banter. Not all of it is terrible, I promise. There is no bias there, is actually a fact. There are some pretty good zingers I get out. True. Well, you know we weren't going to do this dungeon as a 3-man. Come on. Yeah, me too. It's almost like they don't have children's shelters over here. Or orphanages. I mean, how did you not start an orphanage at this point? What's going on? That's what I've been about the whole artificial sadness kind of thing, where things are meant to be as tear-jerking, heartstring-pluckingly sad as possible. Just get a reaction out of you instead of just making sense. As I called out earlier, like, this orphan's kind of putting on a show. A lot of it's not really making any sense, which was true. Then it's like, well, he's an orphan. He has no one to feed him. And then it's like, well, why not? You're talking about rebuilding all these structures, and in the midst of that, you can't at least make a soup kitchen? No, we got to make sure you feel sad for the orphan. Exactly. That's also true. Yes, the adventuring music. Kind of a bad day to go out, though. It's foggy. Then again, I guess we've sailed through worse, considering the very first dungeon in Stormblood, so... Alright, I'm gonna see what they all have to say. Excuse me. But then I'm gonna go, like, eat an apple real quick and then come right back. Alright. To be fair, they said most people don't come back, not none. You know, he says that, and it kind of gives me PTSD of Hullbreaker Isle, I believe it was called, which had, like, literal bear traps on the ground that were very hard to see when it was nighttime, which could happen. Sometimes it's day, sometimes it's noon, sometimes it's night. It's worse at night, because if you don't already know what they are, if you're not looking out, you will just walk right into one. Or worse, you'll be walking close to one, and someone by you will walk into it, and then it triggers anyway. Yeah, I say the same thing about stereotypes. Yeah, I hear that. So as I said, I already goes to DPS. I do feel kind of bad leaving Estinian out, considering... Well, no. I mean, story reasons, yeah, I hate leaving them out, but... She's going to be the magic DPS. I'll be the physical DPS. Raha is going to be the tank, and then we got our healer. I think for the sake of limit break and crowd control, it would be best if we keep it this way. So, yeah, we'll do that. So, I'll be right back. Hopefully my mic will still be in working order, and we'll continue from there. Okay, I'm back. Alright, we're just checking the mic there. Good. Oh man, speaking of Hullbreaker Isle, that's definitely the vibes I'm getting. That and apple caught my teeth. I hate that feeling. Something fun I noticed about Ninja. Yeah, it seems to only happen when I'm doing the low dungeons, like level 50 or something like that. And I want to say not only have I talked about it before, but I'm pretty sure I've actually recorded it. At least I want to say I have. But yeah, sorry, I kind of lost myself there. As I was saying, you can get 2 mudras at the price of 1. Like, say for example, if I was trying to do Raiton. No. I'll explain it as we're doing it, because I'm not too good with the ninja names. I kind of just memorize them with muscle memory, as opposed to their actual names. Which is obviously a good thing and a bad thing. Okay, that's interesting AoEs. They didn't need the arrow though, so that's why I'm saying it's interesting. The circle was enough. Anyway, if I do Raiton, I might be able to do this, the Fuma Shuriken, and Raiton at the same time. Well, not the same time, like it'll be the Shuriken, then Raiton. But I don't know why that happens. I don't know if it's a genuine... I don't want to call it a... I guess it's not technically a glitch, it's more of a bug, so... I don't know if it's a bug or if it's something to do with Ninja's attack speed or what, but something causes that to happen. But like I said, it only happens with low level stuff. I can't recall it ever happening at like level 90, level 60, anything like that. And it's not the only one either. There could be other mudras, but that's the most common one I use. So that's usually the one I see when I'm doing something low level. This is going to be nasty. I'm glad Raha took the initiative there. But unfortunately, the computer does not know how to do priority. So I'm going to try to watch this thing when it inevitably tries to spew its disgusting breath on us. I thought, let me just go and lock onto it now. But yeah, Ninja, originally I did have macros for the mudras. But after practicing I was able to just do them fine. So now I only really use the macros just to save space. Oh yeah, that's something else I wanted to talk about. Is I can appreciate some of the quality of life changes. Like I say, for the most part, Samurai is better. I mean, I still wish they did the slash resistance debuff, but I digress. Samurai is better. I would say Ninja is technically better, but I wish we still had Shadow Fang. So, you know, things like that are fine, but I would like it better. I guess, you know, now I think about it, I guess I do kind of see the benefit of seeing the arrows, because you have at least an idea of where they're coming from, so that can help with the reaction time instead of just them being there. Let me go on this little tangent before I forget. Something else I noticed is they changed some of the older dungeons to where they're literally different now. Like, oh man, what's the name of that dungeon? It's the one where you find Iceheart's hideout, like in this cavern, frozen cavern area. I can't remember the name of it, but y'all know what I'm talking about. The one that has the really soft dungeon music, the warns. That one. They changed the boss there to where I didn't even notice the change until the second boss. So I think that's a good thing and a bad thing. Like Hawk Manor, they changed that one as well. The last boss, at least. I think the first one and second are still the same. But it totally caught me off guard. Okay, speaking of being caught off guard, have y'all ever seen a jellyfish with a rapier and a spear before? Yeah, I can imagine.
Together we shall overcome this. Make ready!
Don't care for group bleed. Oh, look at that. That's actually kind of cool. Ooh. Alright, that was the spear hand. Or tentacle.
Together we shall overcome this. Be gone!
Uh-oh. I lost track. Okay, so it doesn't matter. Okay, that's good. I was afraid the rapier tentacle might have been like a donut, so you needed to get close to it. So that one is just, you need to pay attention. Why are they different then? Oh, that's why. At least I think there is. They're still different for a reason. I just can't get over that.
Something special for you.
Yeah, and I wasted my timer. That's kind of why I like having naturally high skill speed on a ninja. So even without that, I still got decent enough speed, to me at least. I'm not all about those big brain strategies. I'm about what I like and what works for me. As long as I get the job done, who cares how I do it? Yeah, I knew that was going to be bad. That's why we have this. And this. Shapeshift is actually a really decent shield. Surprisingly so, in fact. I was afraid it might catch me in that. That's something I kind of wish they'd change. Oh yeah, Dragoon. That reminds me. Dragoon was another job I got to 90 I was thinking about doing the story with. They kind of fixed it, but I don't like what they did to fix it, if that makes sense. What they did for Dragoon, like the normal jump, like literal just basic jump, they made it so that it comes out well, not comes out faster, but it ends really faster. You don't kind of have that floaty animation at the end. I personally liked that. I thought that was really nice looking. But yeah, I personally like the little floaty end of the jump. My suggestion, since the very beginning, was always to just My suggestion at the very beginning was always to just give them invincibility frames, because that's exactly what you do when you jump. How many times in Final Fantasy, for those of you who know, you do a jump and you are just untouchable until you complete the jump? I mean, there might be some exceptions. There might be some exceptions, like if they have really wonky mechanics, like things you ordinarily wouldn't think to do, like casting Cure on a zombie. So unless like you jump and then there's a thunderstorm and then you get struck by lightning and then it ends your jump, unless it's something really wonky like that, you're pretty much invincible when you did your jump. So why is that so much to ask for in this game? It's not a hollow ground type of invincibility. It's not going to last for like 10 seconds. So that's something else I don't care for that they changed. Oh yeah, getting back to... Oh, that's just on me, huh? Let me try to turn this way so your Stola doesn't get hit. Or was that Urianger? I wasn't paying attention. I think it was Urianger, unless your Stola moved. My main point I said all that was I don't want them giving us more new moves. The moves we have I think are perfectly fine. I don't... And again, this is just personal opinion. Some people will say, I don't care, man. I want more new moves. I want my entire screen, literally my entire screen, to be filled with hotbars. I want 999,999 moves. Well, bully for you, man. I like having my screen be crisp and clear, so I don't. Alright? I don't. If anything, and I think... Okay. We'll figure that out in a second. Never mind, I guess we'll figure it out now. Well, time to hug Raha. I'll finish my thought in a second. I'll just be quiet, go over it with myself in my head so I don't forget. Oops, trying to do a moocher too early. I don't know if there's some kind of secret mechanic here. They don't seem to be doing anything. Like maybe you can block the spawns, because this does seem like a whole bunch of ads. So maybe you can block it or something. Yeah, well, since the biggest threat is gone now, I guess I can finish what I was saying. I personally think a good idea, one I'm pretty sure most people can agree on, because it's not a bad idea. It's not like I'm saying, oh, I main Gunbreaker, so Gunbreaker should be the strongest tank in the game. There's no bias here. It's just quality of life for literally everybody. I personally feel a great idea would be to simply... I'll show you. Right here in traits, you know these? I think giving us more of these will be an infinitely better idea than giving us, yes, even more of these, and definitely more of these. Look at that. Crazy. I think we should have more of these because they take up no slots, and each and every one just makes you stronger. Like, let's take this one, for example. Let's just say at level, what's that, 74, so they're at like 4s. Let's say at level 94, it bumps spinning edge to, I don't know, 260, and gust slash to 220. It's just quality of life. It takes up no slots, you become stronger. Or let's take this one. Allows the accumulation of charges for consecutive uses of Shukuchi. Maximum charge 2. Charge is 2. Why not just at level, I don't know, 96 give us a 3rd charge? I think that'd be infinitely better. Oh, I forgot one. One that's actually not in traits. Or not in most traits, at least. I don't think Ninja has any that do it. I don't think they do. I'm not sure if any job does, but I can't say for certain. But what about just certain traits decreasing the cooldown of certain things? Like, what paladin wouldn't love for their hollow ground to be on a 2 or 3 minute timer as opposed to like a 5 or 7 minute timer like it is right now? Or let's say, for example, my moochers right here, I think they take like 15 seconds, somewhere around there, before they're fully usable again. Why not drop that to 10 or 7? I think, nah, that was really bad. I think that'd just be, yeah, it's like 20 seconds. I think that'd be ingenious thing to do. Not trying to toot my own horn here. I'm not saying I'm a hyperbolic genius or something like that. See, I can't even use my words right. I just meant to say hyper genius. My point being, still messing up that combo, because I'm so brainwashed into thinking I have that thing up. But you see how fast I normally attack anyway? It's not that bad, is it? I just think that'd be way better than giving us more moves. That's totally personal. I know that. I know the world doesn't evolve around me. I know that too, I assure you. It's just, I think that's something everyone can agree on, as opposed to, do you want more new moves or not? Do you want more hot bars or not? Do you want your entire screen to just be this and this? You know what I'm saying? Sooner or later, even people on PC are going to run out of room. It can't go on forever. So why not just solve the issue now and do what I suggested? Hell, same thing with, look at that crap. Same thing with, I'll go ahead and do this. Why not? Because this thing needs to die right now. Usually I try to save it for bosses, but it really needs to die right now. What was I saying? Got my train of thought. Basically, it was just, I wish they would do that instead.
I will not hold back.
That's a fun name for the crap, too. Too bad what it gained in size, it surely lost on flavor. Yeah, again, sorry if my thought process just ended there. I swear I was going somewhere with it beyond just, I wish they would do my idea. But, yeah, oh, I remember what I was saying now. I guess I did kind of end my point. It's just, it can't go on forever. It has to stop eventually. So, again, why not? I remember now. That's a good one, Raha. Yeah, and I don't like the looks of this floor. Before I forget, before we start, my last thing was, I was saying how in PvE, this, and this will all be on one button. Why not do that so we don't have to deal with this? So I wouldn't have to make macros. Truth be told, I will for some of them anyway. But I'm just saying, man, it's literally just quality of life. Why would you not want that? Ooh, that's actually a pretty good line. Or this vault will be your tomb. Ooh, that's gonna be tricky. Actually, maybe not. We'll have to see how far it goes. Oh, dang it. We'll have to see how far it goes. Like, is it always gonna be simply stand in the spot where the shield isn't? Probably not, but we'll see. I love that bat flip from Babakakara. I can't pronounce that. So. I mean, I guess that does make logical sense, but still.
Hold still.
Yeah, this is gonna be a pain doing it with like actual people. But still don't have the mechanic down. Yeah, and that can make things complicated. Actually, maybe not. It's not so bad. That one wasn't so bad, because that was just simply, again, don't stand in front of the shields. but it's more complicated than that when they start getting tricky. Ah, I did that too soon. Yeah, man, doesn't that look cool? Shadowfang also looked cool, but, you know, they had the brilliant idea of taking it out. Yeah. See, that's what I meant by it's not that simple. Because it took up that itty-bitty space. But I think we've seen all his bag of tricks now. Still bad at doing that. I was a second late. Ooh, moved too slow. I kind of felt it was going to be that one, but I wasn't paying attention. I've noticed that maybe the dungeons, well, not the dungeon, but like I said, I kind of saw in Praetorium, I mean not Praetorium, in Pandemonium, how the fights seem to be harder. Seems like they took that same philosophy to the dungeons as well. Your greed will prove your undoing. Yeah, well, we'll see about that. Man, seeing this new gear, or let me just see out of curiosity. See if I like. I know this isn't it. Oh, okay. I might hold on to those. Yeah, I think I'll hold on to those. Which one I just got, though? There they are. Oh, those actually look good, too. Yeah, I'm hoping with this new looking gear, they do an update to... These can go away. I hope they do an update to, I cannot remember the name of the gear to save my life, so I'll probably just show you after this dungeon. It's called like Bone Waka or something like that. It's a really, really good looking chest piece for samurais and monks. You would think Dragoons and Reapers could wear it too, but you'd be wrong. Indeed, there. If they still came after me for no reason. Probably because I'm the player character, so they just sense that. And if this thing does what I think it does, we want to keep an eye on it. That's also cool, Dream Within a Dream. I'm glad they didn't take that one away. I kind of hate they made Assassinate into Dream Within a Dream. It's kind of ironic, because that is one of my quality of life things. But I kind of like the animation for Assassinate as well. And I kind of liked it originally where it did more damage, like the closer you're... Like, once the enemy fell between a certain margin, it did, like, stupid damage. Or it was a critical hit or something like that. So I kind of wish Assassinate and Dream Within a Dream were still separate, but oh yeah, we still need to talk about Dark Knight, don't we? Don't worry, we'll get there. I promise you, before this stream ends, we will talk about Dark Knight. Well, provided of course something doesn't happen to my stream. I refuse to go into details, at least I speak it into existence. Oh, Rawhide actually got hit by that. There's a lot of treasure in here, man. Small wonder people didn't come back. These level 90 abominations. Well, let me take that back. They're not necessarily abominations. Nah, that honor is reserved for those creatures from the final days. These are more than just machines and wildlife. Yeah, this isn't our first vault. As a matter of fact, it is not quite there, unless I just am misremembering. But it somewhat looks like the vaults you get from treasure maps. You know, the elephant rooms and all that good stuff. It looks like it, but not quite. That treasure chest in the back, actually that one right there too, makes me think Mimic. Because I can't interact with them, but they look like they'll do something. So, that's interesting. Ah, my timer's gonna run out, but that's fine. You got to see the cool backflip, so that's all worth it, right? A little late early on, Jay, but appreciate it. Yeah, that's what I thought. To be fair, those were like, dang, they hurt too. Which makes sense, they are mimics. But those were the most obvious mimics in this entire game. The ones in that one dungeon are way less conspicuous, I believe is the right word. I could be wrong, so I'll use another one. It's way less obvious that they're mimics because you can still interact with them, and if you choose the wrong one, you get munched on. So it's kind of weird they didn't do that here. Matter of fact, even in Stormbreaker Hull hard mode, there are mimics that are better hidden than these. So again, this is weird. I don't know if you guys know this, but I only really complain about things that either bother me specifically or have no reason being the way they are. And this is one of the latter cases. Because there are two examples where they do it better. So, what happened? Again, late, but appreciate it. And yeah, see? Elephant. Just like those rooms. I shudder to imagine what the third boss is like, unless it's one of those dungeons where the last boss is the easiest and like the first is the hardest. There's definitely a couple of those. I just waited to see if that would happen, and it still did.
Hold still. Hold still.
Also, I guess I should comment on, like I said with Ninja, their damage is much better. It's almost crazy how high the Ninja damage can be when it's done correctly. Obviously, I'm not, but it can be really high. That being said, I like what they did with Mug. They actually made it useful. Yeah, I was expecting something like that. This is like a photo worthy of Taru and all her sewing. Speaking of which, something tells me this guy's going to have cloth-based mechanics. I'd be genuinely surprised if I'm wrong. Well, I say that, but hardly anything surprises me anymore. Like, even when I say I'm surprised, it's usually just a figure of speech. Unless I'm genuinely surprised, in which case I say I am, but it's very rare. Can't help but notice there are holes in these floors. Chastisement, that's a fun word. Yep, there we go. Whoa, this is weird. Kind of fun though. silly looking, but fun. Oh, I bet, you know, some of these waves gonna be like cut off. Oh, undignified. Yeah, really. That was cool though. That was actually a fun mechanic, despite it, you know, trying to screw us over. I hate what it did to my timer though. I can only imagine the other ones like monks and dragoons. Poor souls. Yeah, I'll wait. As long as I can, at least. Oh, what now?
Allow me.
Ah, really? That's lame. I didn't really get to study the mechanic. Oh, that's why we got this. Yeah, this is gonna be one of the rare dungeons I actually die in when I go in with other people. Like, even when I'm new to it, I can usually at least try to figure it out. Alright, what's the extra twist? Yeah, there it is. Yeah, I definitely can't wait to see what other people reacted to like this. Stola's mad.
I will not hold back.
I can't only imagine what Ethonra would say in moments like that. I'm just gonna refresh this. I meant to refresh it, but I did the wrong mutra. Okay, let me try to study this one. So don't be near yellow is what it looks like, but let me stand like right underneath the green. Yeah, and that's a little trick.
Something special.
By saying, unless he does it more than once. You'll find that a lot of bosses later in like the higher tier content try to do that trick where they try to bait you out into grouping up, just mess that up, just to make you split apart. It's meant to make you panic, so it's actually a good trick, but once you see it a couple dozen times, you know when to expect it. So this wasn't so bad. I was right. The first boss is harder, simply because I couldn't grasp the mechanics. Don't stand near the shield is not good enough when he does that really narrow safe space. Backflip. That was fun. That was a very fun boss. I approve. Can't remember if I finished my thought or not, but I was saying I'm curious what Ethonra is going to say when he's spinning around like a Beyblade. Hey, there we go. I'm glad they're celebrating again. I started watching Sync Weaver's playthrough of Shadowbringers because I obviously didn't watch it when I was going through it, so I didn't get spoiled. One of the things he commented on was how the Warrior of Darkness, I think you might have said Warrior of Light, your character, whatever, doesn't celebrate victories anymore. They just look so sad now. So I'm glad they're celebrating again, as they should. Is that a pun, Stinging? I somehow don't think it is, but it felt like it was. I think so, unless I missed a chest back there. Stola's hard to trigger right now. I guess she's still dizzy. I'll say that should do it. Ah, just for that. That's a good question, though. I'm assuming the best loot is up there. I mean, it doesn't look bad. I imagine the chest pieces will look pretty good, but I can only speculate so much. I'll keep an eye out next time, if I see them. I might grab them myself if they're good enough. Also about to take a drink of water. I'll try to be quiet.
What have we here? 'Tis not unlike a Hunnish alchemical furnace.
Sorry.
Well, there is one way we might find out.
Don't know if you guys could hear it, but there's ice in my water, so I have to be careful not to swallow it while I'm drinking. So that's why I kind of pressed the button. Got distracted.
Stop! You mustn't touch it.
Well, well, well.
Vritra! Oh, my apologies. Should I continue calling you Varshan?
You may address me as you wish. My nature is no longer a secret. Still, this is not a setting I imagined for our union. Surely you've not entered these ruins as common looters.
Would that we could deny your accusations, but I fear you're not far from the truth.
Yeah, because you thought not having an orphanage after the final days was a good idea.
Great Vritra, might we beseech thee to explain the nature of this strange contrivance?
It was crafted by our alchemists at my behest, for the purpose of sealing something away.
That's funny, but I'd rather keep it serious.
Perhaps I should simply show you.
Okay. I expected him to just, like, show us the revision, not do what he told us not to do.
I have lifted the seal, if only for the moment, by an authority only I possess.
A planar fissure.
No, my friend. Small though it may be, this is a functioning gate into the void.
Yeah, I recognize that. I don't know why Y'shtola was smiling about it, but I recognize that because we've seen that before. I believe we saw it in Shadowbringers, probably sooner, but I definitely remember seeing it in Shadowbringers. Speaking of which, I'm going to say this now because I had that thought while I was watching this. I was thinking about dead characters that should stay dead. And that brings up what goes on in this dungeon right here. Because it's known as the Ethereal Sea. I believe that's even the name of the soundtrack for the dungeon music. But multiple characters have addressed it as the life stream, specifically. They've called it the life stream. To go even further, they mention characters being reincarnated. That's what the life stream does, after all. That being the case, and something I don't think I thought about when I first played it, and so far I haven't heard anyone else really mention it either. I'm sure someone has, obviously, but why do some of the souls still appear there, aside from the fields being the reason? You know what I mean? Like Papa Limo, Hartrafont, I believe that's how his name's pronounced, Moonbreeda, Minfilia. So their souls have just been vibing in the life stream this entire time and not reincarnating? Why? Why not? You get what I'm saying? There's no way they knew that we would need their help later, unless they were just like, oh, you know, in the off chance my fellow Scions come down here, I want to be here to keep them safe. I'm not saying that's impossible, just immensely, immeasurably unlikely. So why did they not reincarnate? And I had a further point I wanted to press on that, but I can't remember it right now. But that is definitely something I was thinking about in the past 9 months. Yes. Yeah, but by definition of void gate, doesn't that mean it already leads to a world that has been consumed by the void? That's what I would think. Now, I'm going to skip past this real quick, because I want him to be the last person I talk to. I'm going to talk to Ethonra. Yeah, you know me, I just try to talk to everyone before we move forward. Which reminds me, I couldn't remember if this one was a moving text one or not. I gotta pay attention to there being a thumbnail. I saw it, but I didn't stop and think, oh right, it's a thumbnail, so that means there's actually some text here. So, there you go. Now, what were you saying, Raha? Oh, okay. Is that all? Yeah. Alright, well, there goes my thing. I figured a void gate meant that's what it led to, but apparently that's not the case. But hey, they're the experts, not me, so I can't even complain about that. Wait, what? Reminiscing. I won't do that all the time, because it doesn't seem to be as common anymore, but back in the day, it used to do that, where everyone except for like 1 or 2 people will say something different, not counting something like this, obvious mission. So I just wanted to check.
I must admit, I am deathly curious to know how a void gate came to be hidden in the depths of these ruins.
To tell that tale, we must first peer far to the south, and even further into memory. An age 5 millennia past, when the Algan Empire sent an invading force to the shores of Mericidia, the southern people rallied around the commanding figures of Bahamut and Tiamat, and fought fiercely to repel the would-be conquerors. With Bahamut's defeat, however, the tide turned against them. Desperate to seize any advantage, the Mercidians resorted to summoning primal entities.
See, now, the reason why this is cool, and it kind of goes in part why I said way back when, why you should do as much content as you can. Number one reason was because you will see AoEs that will become mandatory later, like Sephiroth's infamous blue pillar AoEs, where you need to stand as close to them as possible in order to hopefully not get smashed instantly and die, or just knocked off the edge, right? You will see that mechanic later in other instances, you know, so it's best to just do them anyway. But in addition to that, since I've done these, I actually know who these characters are, so nice touch. Because they could have just did anything. See?
In response, Emperor Zande forged a covenant with the Cloud of Darkness, sovereign among the all-devouring denizens of the Void.
It kind of makes me wonder if the Cloud of Darkness was... No, that doesn't make any sense. I was going to compare her to like a Hydaelyn or Zodiac type of entity, since what he just said meant she is head of all void creatures, even the queen that we fight in that one dungeon. So, makes you wonder.
Thus bolstered by icons on one side and void scent on the other. The two armies clashed in a battle of unspeakable carnage. So much death, so much loss.
I consider myself well versed in that period of history, yet you speak as one who witnessed it happen.
Yeah, strange, huh, Raha, considering who he is.
Indeed, I did. I heard Tiamat's roar of defiance and sped toward that war-torn land. Along with my sibling, Ashdaya.
Ah, there we go, something new.
We dragons are not male or female as men are wont to classify, but elder sister is the closest a mortal tongue can come to describing what she meant to me. I was the last of our brood to hatch, and Ashdaya cared for me where my sire could not.
It's strange then that they still use pronouns like that. So do dragons reproduce asexually? I don't think so. That's definitely not what I've been led to believe. So I don't know why that distinction was necessary.
Thus I was with her when Tiamat roared. I was with her when she journeyed south. And I was with her when she fought against the void-sent hordes. Yet no matter how many of their vile fiends we cast down, more rose from the abyss to take their place. Faced with an unwinnable war of attrition, Ashdaya risked her all on a final gamble. She plunged through the void gate itself to strike at the root of their strength. I tried to follow in her wake, determined to lend what aid I could. But even as I came upon Alag's glittering tower, I saw the rift close behind her. And Ashdaya has been lost to us ever since.
So we're gonna fight a void dragon at some point? That'd be monstrous.
I find I must retract my earlier claim of historical knowledge. Nowhere in the Crystal Tower's archives did I see mention of such noble sacrifice.
Yeah, it's almost like the writers just put it in there, huh, Raha? But that's not your fault.
That does not surprise me. To Allagan eyes, it must have seemed as if a lone dragon, driven to madness, simply dove through the gate and did not return. For my part, I spent long years searching for the means to reunite with Ashdaya. Until I could search no more. Until Allag was dust, and the art to open a void gate large enough to accommodate a dragon forever lost.
Yet you have the beginnings of a gate right here, under the control of a harnessed device.
My discovery came before Ethonra was founded. Though I scoured the lands for a method to cross the rift, it was beneath the sea that I chanced to find a natural plane of vision. It was, however, far too narrow to admit a worm's bulk. Only after our city rose upon the rock, and I could enlist the aid of our talented alchemists, did matters take a favorable turn.
You know, I appreciate story time, but I can't help but notice the rift is open, you know, for an awfully long period of time.
Their dedication was beyond reproach. Tirelessly they worked to expand the fissure, and after decades of toil, it finally grew to a size that a child might pass through.
Not long ago, you told us that you called out to your kin, that Ashdaya's answer was silence. I suspect the conclusion to your tale is not a joyful one.
With hope in my heart, I used a simulacrum to cross the threshold. But no, I did not fight her. What I found was a host of void sent, clamoring around the opening they had sensed. It was but a moment, but enough. I had no choice but to retreat and allow the portal to contract once more.
The gate was a threat to your people. You had to decide between endangering Razathan and abandoning your sister. You chose the latter.
'Twas not that thy sibling scorned thy call. 'Twas that she was trapped beyond a barrier through which neither roar nor dragon may pass. Even now, in the desolate world of the 13th.
I can scarce imagine your pain, yet it was wise not to linger in that place. Too long a sojourn, and even a being of your power risks being warped into a creature of the void. You've seen this phenomenon before, when we stepped into the darkness.
Yeah, I remember when Nero turned purple.
Turned purple? Well, yes. His wounds had allowed the void's corruption to enter his body and twist his ether. Had it been allowed to progress much longer, I presume he would have been fully transformed.
Then there is little hope for Ashdaya.
Ah, no. I hadn't meant to. I speak only of possibilities.
Nah, keep it real, Raha.
The scales of the first brood are extraordinarily resistant to ethereal fluctuations. They are the protective talisman's core components after all, and even the corruption I described would struggle to overcome. Of course. With the warding scale in one's possession, one could conceivably survive a stay in the 13th without being warped by its energies.
Be that as it may, it is too late to rescue my sister. 5,000 years too late. And now countless others look to me for guidance and protection. So when I sensed intruders in the ruins, I came only to ensure that the gate remained closed. That, and to secure the treasure, of course. I wish only to forget the rest.
What's going on in your Stola's head? The answer she's been looking for is literally right there. Hardly any work required. Well, you know, besides the more obvious, difficult part, but you know what I meant. It didn't take her generations. Yep. I already said it once, but yeah, man, that last boss fight was actually really fun. I cannot remember the last time I enjoyed a dungeon boss that fun. I'm thinking nothing really comes to mind besides Xenos. The reason that is because I don't want to get into it too much because it kind of goes nowhere. But I was thinking about boss music, or dungeon music rather, and how Triumph was the very first dungeon boss music that I think everyone can agree was the first real jammer. Like, really. Then after that, we got Shadowbringers, which I admit is also good. It took me a while to warm up to it, but once that beat really started going, it was actually really good, so I like that one too. Then Endwalkers, I warmed up to it faster than I did Shadowbringers, but ultimately I still like it. I said all that to say, the reason why Xenos' fight is so memorable because, one, everything he did, being the... Wow, even his katana's kind of T-posing with him. That's impressive. Anyway, Xenos being the only one to first and thoroughly defeat the Warrior of Light, so that immediately put him on my radar. The fact that he was unnaturally strong was also interesting. The fact that he was a Garlean, but then later was able to use magic. Actually, I skipped a phase. He basically had the Echo. So, I mean, he just became more and more interesting the more we learned about him. So by the time we fight him in Alamigo, and Triumph is the song playing, it felt like the entire point of Triumph was to play for that fight specifically. So yeah, it's been a while since I've had a thoroughly fun dungeon fight. Oh, great. True. Alright, you stole it. Just don't do anything reckless. Well, we're the ones who came knocking hard on that front door. I gotta say, back when level 50 was the cap, the first job, or Disciple of the Hand, if you will, job that I got to level 50 was Alchemist. So that makes me wonder if, like, the true blue alchemists who have been, like, from the beginning or got it to 90, can't help but wonder what they think, you know, with all this going on, knowing that their job class did all this. Or, you know, prior to Endwalker and how wacky those alchemists are. You get my point. Yeah, he even describes her as a sovereign entity, basically a god. Or goddess, if you will. I guess, you know, a divinity would be higher than a queen, so I guess that's fair. Yeah, about that orphanage. Righto. I will accept that, but I might do that in my own time. Whatever it is. Orphanage. Oh, let me guess, the 13th. Oh, okay. I know exactly who that is. I honestly didn't think he'd just be here, so that's kind of interesting. Oh, and the 4 fiends. So Warrior against Darkness against more Darkness. This should be good. But yeah, honestly did not expect to see freaking Golbez here. I was honestly thinking Sephiroth would get his time in the sun before Golbez did, considering, you know, the Kefka fight. Speaking of that, I didn't think we'd see a mainstay Final Fantasy villain outside of a situation like that. But then again, now I think back to the Kefka one, didn't Omega say he originally got that data from somewhere else? So, I don't know, but I digress. Freaking Golbez, that's interesting. I was thinking about Dark Knight again, so I'll probably be talking about that while we do this. It won't be too long. I'll probably go for a little bit longer than I'll end it. Because I'm like really far behind, so I want to squeeze in as much as possible. But the longer I go, the more likely something is going to go wrong, you know? So we'll use this time to, instead of warping there, we'll jog. And I'll talk about Dark Knight. So I have an interesting history with Dark Knight. It's a love-hate relationship, or rather, it was one. In the beginning, I did not despise Dark Knight. I don't think anyone really did, besides their terrible Living Dead skill. I actually thought it was cool that we had a tank that specialized in magic defense. The only downside of that was unlike now, there's not too many enemies that really do magical attacks, so as nice of a niche as it still was just that, a niche. But I didn't begrudge Dark Knight for that. I liked that they had a big old FU sword, and I liked that they had really fun combos. I liked that they had Power Slash. To this day, I still grieve that we don't have Power Slash, especially those who missed out on it. It was legitimately a cool combo. As a matter of fact, something I'm going to be extra salty about once I play it again, because I honestly forgot about it. I'm probably going the wrong direction too. I actually wasn't paying attention. I think I am. Nope, no I'm not. I was about to say if I was, it'd be behind me. But yeah, so something I was kind of salty about, or at least like, oh, you know, a great kind of feeling, was Power Slash is still in the game. It's just we can't use it. And I'll show you what I mean when I play the Dark Knight story. So that was fun, getting salt in the wound like that. Always enjoy it. Then they had something like Soul Survivor. That was the name of the move. I love that move just because Dark Knight was the original Reaper, and how they played, or how they should have played, where they regen health from damaging their enemies. Matter of fact, a buff they could give to Dark Knight to help with their survivability would be to give an ability called Blood Weapon, the ability to heal you as you attack with it. But I digress. It had Soul Survivor, which was one of my favorite skills, especially when they buffed it, because Soul Survivor worked where you would mark a target, and the target will get the coolest sounding debuff in the entire game, another victim, and when you kill that target, or when the buff expired, you would get massive amounts of health. If it was me, not only would Dark Knights keep that ability, I would also do my secondary way of buffing it by reducing the cooldown, so you could use it like every, I don't know, 20 seconds. It'd just be so good. But that's gone. Power Slash, gone. They thought it'd be a good idea to weaken Living Shadow. That's another thing. It has one less attack and is out for less time, so it is weaker. Even though they get the Shadowbringer like move to make them do a stronger attack from Flood of Darkness, or Edge of, I forgot the name of it, Flood of Shadow, that's the one. So even though Flood of Shadow gets upgraded to Shadowbringer, guess what? It would still do more damage if they didn't nerf it and just did that too. So then one of the most outrageous things they did was they combined freaking Carve and Spit with Abyssal Drain. which is asinine. Dark Knights were infamous for how squishy they were, so why on God's blue earth would you do that? Why would you? That's a nerf. I don't care what anyone says. That is a nerf that they did that. Because it makes it that much harder to survive. Especially if you're like me and you're still used to using carve and spit on one enemy when you're fighting like 20 enemies at once, and then you're about to die. So you have two options here. Either hope that you have enough MP for Darkest Night, and let's be honest, you most likely don't. You better hope your healer will save you. But again, if it's a white mage, they're probably too busy spamming holy and you end up dying, which I've seen before. It's happened to me and I've seen it. Even recently, in fact, have I seen that. So you also die. Or you use Living Dead, which thankfully has actually been buffed. Living Dead is actually very good now, so I am happy about that, but the cons far and away outweigh the pros. And then they nerfed Delirium, or at least they feel like they did. I swear, if you timed it right, you could do like what? Anywhere between 6 to 8 blood spillers back to back to back to back to back to back to back. Might have missed one there. I'll add one more. Back in a row. So you just become this vertical spinning Beyblade of death with Delirium. Now it's 3. You only get 3. No more, no less. Just 3. They killed Dark Knight for me. I cannot enjoy that class anymore. I might level it up just because, but as far as playing it seriously, I just can't. It's not fun anymore. Soul Eater is such a boring combo, and the fact that that's your bread and butter thing is just so tedious. Gunbreaker has technically 3. They have their basic one. I can't even remember the name of it actually. The one with Brutal Shell in it. That one. Then they have the what I call the Gunblade combo, the basic 3-hit one. Then they got the one where it's upgraded to like what, 7 hits. So they technically got like 3 different combos. Warrior, as far as I know, I haven't played it too much, has at least 2. Paladin technically has 3, but its combo gets upgraded when it gets to a certain level, so there's that. Dark Knight is the only one that just has 1, and it is so boring. That's pretty much why I can't play Dark Knight anymore. 1, they killed it, and 2 is just so boring now. Aside from them buffing Living Dead, I hate what they did to that class. And like I said, Dark Knight exactly wasn't the most broken tank in the game. Warriors. So I have no idea why they destroyed Dark Knight like that. Whatever. It's not like he's my main, so I'm not completely upset about it. I just hate now I have no drive to really play it. Man, don't talk about fish to me right now. I'm still hungry. I can go for a big old slice of turkey right now. I don't even care about the bread for a sandwich. I just want the turkey. Let's see, is there anything else I wanted to rant about? Nothing immediately comes to mind. I wish I could remember everything I wanted to say for the past 9 months, but this is me, so of course I don't. But yeah, I guess to kind of not re-irritate, I was trying to say re-irritate, I was trying to be funny, but anyway. To just repeat myself, I cannot stand what they did to Dark Knight. I don't know why I got nerfed like that. Because again, you'll hear, to me, Paladin will always be the best tank because it does the #1 thing a tank is meant to do, survive. You are meant to survive. The tank does that better than any other tank. It survives, right? People say Warrior's the best solely because it does the most damage and it has great survivability. That's all. If Paladin, for whatever reason, did more damage, people would say it's Paladin just because more damage. But I say Warrior does the most, but Paladin is still the best because it tanks. It does what it's meant to do. Warrior being a blue DPS is just a bonus. But, and even Gunbreaker at least has excellent, what's the word I want to use here? Rush down, I guess is a good term for it. It does really good burst damage. Not quite fail, cleave, spam kind of burst, but good enough, you know, very consistent damage, I think is a better way to put it. But good lord, Dark Knight, especially when you're doing big pulls. I remember this one person I was with even commented on how Dark Knight, I can't remember their exact words, I don't want to put words in their mouth, but they basically said, you know, I'm playing on Dark Knight, so don't beat yourself up if I die. That's basically what they said, because that ended up happening after, and then that's what they commented on. Like the healer was apologizing and stuff, you know, being a decent human being. But no, they even commented, well, I'm on Dark Knight. And I've been in that situation too. It's like, man, if I was on my Gunbreaker, I wouldn't have died there. If I was on my Paladin, I would not have died there. Only Dark Knight has that issue, and they made it worse. Freaking mind-boggling. Well, you're a crook, but at least you're an honest crook. Yeah, I'm sure. Dang, man, why are they still talking about food? If I wasn't hungry, I swear they wouldn't be talking about it at all. Also, I'm glad I ran into this. Look at this. I remember saying this and was like, I gotta show my stream this at some point. Look at this. It's like the most... Okay, the animation was actually off there, but it is the most... I almost want to say half-assed. I want to go as far as say half-assed. It's just so pathetic. And yeah, for some reason the animation is off. I don't know why, but it's off. When I was here last time, he did it correctly. Okay, it's just even weirder that the animation is off. But you see the shove, right? It's a nothing shove. I mean, yeah, the dude's big, but you're in full body armor, and you're an Aura. Isn't your... sorry, Ora. I forgot their name is actually kind of dumb. It's not as good sounding as Aura. It's Ora. Ura. You're a full-bodied, grown man. Ura. And you're getting pushed by that nobody. Just, alright. And it's half-hearted shove. This also just occurred to me. There is a video I plan to upload. I might do it after my stream just so I don't forget. Let me read this first so I don't get distracted. Isn't that the guy that turned into that really gnarly blasphemy, I believe they were called? I meant to talk to... I usually mean to do this, but I got distracted with my Dark Knight rant. I usually talk to them. I didn't talk to that elephant man. I forgot the name of their race. Right. But yeah, there's a video where I got to limit break as the samurai, and they have a very... I mean, to be fair, every class technically has a unique animation after they limit break. But I wanted to show the samurai specifically was one, it's badass. There's no other way to put it than being badass. And two, is because I guarantee most people have not seen it. Fun story, back when I was playing a Lalafell, like long before I even created Arazio, when I played my Lalafell, I did the Samurai Limit Break, and you can actually see the full animation. I actually killed the boss with it, so it was super awesome back then. But I guarantee even my friends have not seen that video, so I'll just upload the video itself so people can see it now and see what I'm talking about. Because it's really cool. I like it a lot. I plan to kind of make one of the pictures I took my new profile picture. Again, something I have to remember to do once I finish. And now that I got to rant about Dark Knight, and I am very hungry, and I can't think of anything else I want to say right now, I'm probably about to wrap this video up. It's almost been 3 hours. It's been over 2 easily, going on 3, and I don't want to push my luck, so I'm going to end this soon. Rest assured, tomorrow, I don't know how long I'm going to do it, but I'm going to try to stream for as long as I can. It might be one of my longest streams ever, which has happened before. I don't remember how long they are or were. I think some of them can be up to like 4 hours, if not longer. So hopefully we'll be in for a good time. On the bright side, I fixed my mic in 2 ways. One, I was wondering why people couldn't hear me that well. I thought it was because my mic was just dying. That's partially the reason, but also because for whatever reason my mic settings got reset. So at least we got that taken care of, so I shouldn't have to be testing, 1, 2, 3 for 6 minutes straight. Well, you do kind of stand out, Estinian. Yeah. Hey, that's my line. See, it's kind of funny. It's like these offhand remarks, not offhand, that might be the wrong term there, because that sounds more derogatory. But it's like these small little stories, to me, have more impact than the, oh no, my father turned into a monster, and now I'm trying to run away, but I fall backwards and gasp, and then I turn into a monster, or I get stepped on. If you got the time to do that, you got the time to frickin' run, you know? That gets on my nerves. But this, right there, that strikes me more than what I just described. You're at sea, so you're already vulnerable. No matter how you look at it, you're always more vulnerable at sea than you are on land. Then on top of that, he says the blasphemies sunk the vessel. Imagine how terrifying that's got to be. Especially because you know for sure there's people transforming on that boat. They can't keep their crap together for nothing, so you know they're transforming on the boat. Then, on top of that, you got ones most likely in the sea also sinking it. Actually, let me retract that statement. They probably weren't already in the sea unless some just became aquatic, swam out there, and then sunk the boat. More than likely, they transformed on the boat, then sank it, which arguably is even worse. That is way more than forced sympathy. Also, I just want to point out, like I said as if you all were there or remember, or even will be here now. I don't even know why I said that. Anyway, I've mentioned before that one of the things, and to be fair, I was kind of prickly about it, but I had my reasons because it was inconsistent. Hold on, someone's about to talk.
I thank you for your attendance.
I want to do this real quick. So, with the final days, it was mentioned how they made it clear that despair did it. Profound despair did it. Not anger, not fear, profound despair. So when they started saying, now it's been 3 hours by the way, so when they started saying like, oh, you know, you can't let yourself get too angry, like that one dude who was about to try to duel Xenos and get killed. He's like, no, you can't let yourself be too angry, otherwise you'll transform. It's like, no, he won't. What are you talking about? It just, don't do that, man. Like, if you want to make the scene to be he talk him down, then just talk him down, but don't lie. It was just weird. It's a small thing, like I said. I only complain about the small things that make no sense or I personally don't like. This one was the it makes no sense form, but I digress.
The riches the Radiant Host have retrieved were hoarded in Al-Zadal's name. A fortune I set aside for a future day of need. And lo, that day hath come. May it aid our wounded city in reclaiming its vibrancy and vigor.
I gotta say, I gotta give this to Vitra. I do like how he had this nest egg the entire time. That's actually really smart, because it does make you wonder how they're gonna rebuild. You think they would just, do it? At least over in Eorzea, at least over there, we have the city-states and we have Ishgard, so they can kind of pool their resources to do whatever they need to do if it came to that. But as he said, this place doesn't have that luxury, so I think it's just great that he had that just in case, in addition to adding to it bit by bit. It's a smart thing to do, especially in real life.
In better times, I would leave such a task to our capable Ahawan. God's rest his soul.
Yeah, he was cool.
Finding myself bereft of his counsel in the here and now, I will assume the responsibilities of my office directly.
Too bad he died protecting some moron who couldn't run. Sorry, that's agitated Zeo. Or Ethonra.
Thence, invested into the trading port of Yetlaman. Our merchants must have their operations restored, their ships rebuilt. Commerce must flow once more. None were spared the tragedy of the final days. Of this, I am well aware. But an absence was created by the loss of Karazal's consortium. And by filling it, we provide new means for our fishermen, our artisans, and others to bring their wares to distant markets.
And what of the children who were left without family to care for them?
Ah, thank you. Someone finally mentioned it.
That is a concern which weigheth heavily upon my mind. The simple gift of coin will soon be exhausted, leaving these young souls adrift on the fringes of our society. Nay, a proper solution is needed, one which doth guarantee their welfare for years to come. Thou hast surely seen how other nations rise to meet this challenge, adventurer. What dost thou deem the wisest course?
Well, honestly, I would have done a bit of both. I'm trying to make sure I understand this one right. I do not have the mental fortitude to understand what this is saying, because I'm getting two different answers depending on how I read it. Well, my solution would have been, one, orphanage, and then two, give them simple jobs. I'm not talking about no child labor. I'm not saying send them down to the salt mines and haphazard gear and have them mine 24/7, or sorry, 24/6. They get at least 1 hour in one day to sleep. I'm not saying do that, but give them some shelter, give them some food, and then give them something simple, like selling, I don't know, food on a fruit cart, or I don't know, helping sow some seeds, or chopping woods. You know, really simple jobs where they themselves can get paid, get their own little pocket money. But I don't know, that's probably too idealistic, too dreamy to be a real solution. But I know this one is true. It takes a village. Everyone can help.
Of course, we must all look out for one another.
I'm not sure if he would have said that with the first answer. Probably not. It feels like he shouldn't, really, since I'm talking about some taxes. But he liked the answer, at least.
Let us put this idea into practice. A contract shall
Thank you.
requiring all who receive Valzadar's treasure to commit a portion of their future earnings towards the running of an orphanage.
That might tie in more to the first answer. Again, my mind could not differentiate which way it was trying to say. But yes, finally, I've been saying it since I saw that kid literally there. Since the beginning, I've been saying child shelter, orphanage, whatever. Oh, I'm getting emotional again. That's annoying.
Influential policy is deserving of a worthy name.
Name it after Estinian. Actually, yeah, you're absolutely right. That is way better. That is way better. I was obviously joking. If they gave me that option, I probably would have picked it. But between the Estinian answer as a joke and then this answer being there, I definitely would have picked this one.
A fitting candidate.
A worthy person for a worthy cause. I think it works. I know it works.
Kalzal should be remembered not as the blasphemy which terrorized Daphne, but as a hard-working and generous man who brought much wealth to our shores. Do any among you object to this proposition? Many here lost loved ones to the beasts.
In that time of strife, any one of us could have broken. Any one of us may have been taken by despair.
Profound despair.
When I think of Kalzal, I feel no hatred. Only a stinging regret that we could not save him as well. Isn't that right, men?
This bodes well for that boy. Narag was it? Perhaps he can cut ties with that shady peddler.
Well, here's hoping.
Then let it be done. Henceforth, this initiative shall be known as the Kalzal Foundation.
Has a kind of a nice ring to it.
Nabdeen, thou art to assemble a patrol and ensure that no child in this city liveth in squalor. Clerks, see to the management of our funds and make haste. Our citizens must not suffer a day more than is necessary.
Dragon and man, side by side in pursuit of a brighter morrow. Reminded of Ishgard.
Well, that was pleasant. But you see what I mean, right? As long as it's not related to that topic, I really didn't mind Endwalkers. I would say it actually is good, especially when I take my own feelings out of it. There are some inconsistencies, some issues I have that either aren't answered or just waved away, but I digress. Oh, there I go saying that word again. I'm going to accept this. Actually, should I? No, I'm not, because thankfully we have this now, so I really don't need to accept it, keep it in my journal, and then worry about it later. Yeah. So, yeah, I think pretty good stream. Again, aside from me taking 6 minutes to get the ball rolling, I think all in all it was pretty good. It's kind of a shame most people won't see this, but I don't know. Maybe when I'm dead and gone and just dust, when people point to my name, they'll see this. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and fix my little avatar and set up the video I was telling you about Samurai. So hopefully some of y'all will at least check that out. Thank you all for tuning in, and I'll see you around.